Good afternoon, everyone. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. Just a little out of order of our normal schedule, so we'll see if we can finish the city's business here. We're joined, of course, by council members Yang, Glidden, Bender, and Andrew Johnson. And we have a number of items on our consent agenda, which are many are fairly routine items as we end the calendar year. And then we also are going to have a presentation, a brief conversation from our Public Works folks on the water facility. So with that, let me begin by offering the five legal settlements that are outlined, the public service announcement donation. From the Communications Department, we also have the appointment to the Minneapolis Television Network Board, confirming those appointments. Finance and Property Services Department is bringing forward the annual authorizing staff to write off outstanding receivables in accordance with the City of Minneapolis write-off policy. That's the uncollected receivables. We have the Medical Review Billing Services extension of a contract with Alpha Review Corporation. And we have the property insurance for Minneapolis Convention Center, the Capital Long Range Improvement Committee CLIC appointments. This will be for beginning January 1 and ending with December 31st of 2016, two-year appointments. The Convention Center is bringing forward an amendment to the contract with Northland Mechanical Contractors for the Target Center Concession Stands project. Information Technology Department is bringing forward 4 items. One is the Intelligence Operating Platform and Minneapolis Emergency Communication Center /911 contract. The Business Analysis and Project Management Services contract, and the authorizing the extension of a contract with Global Source IT for the PeopleSoft Human Capital Management developer contract and HRIS upgrade. We have the outsourced IT services confidentiality agreements. The Executive Committee is bringing forward the newly appointed position of Manager of Assessment Services and the newly appointed position of Chief Appraiser. The Community Development Regulatory Services Committee is bringing forward the parking operations on Parcel A, executing a operating agreement between the city and Standard Parking. We have the Small Business Technical Assistance Program, affectionately known as BTAP, executing and negotiating those contracts for BTAP recipients. We have authorizing a cooperative agreement with the city and the city of Robbinsdale for Clare Housing Project. We'll be operating with our HOPWA grant award in Robbinsdale. Project for Pride and Living contract is brought forward with from the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee. And the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee is bringing forward the Driver Training Facility Rental Agreement, Video Surveillance Network Services contract, online law enforcement training with the contract with League of Minnesota Cities, and the Standardized Field Sobriety Testing Annual Plan Agreement for 2015 with Minnesota Department of Public Safety for the Police Department. Transportation and Public Works is bringing forward the Municipal Parking System Extension contract, as well as the property insurance premium for water treatment and distribution services, and accepting 2 low bids for two different projects. And finally, they have the 2014 Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program, submittal of a series of applications for Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program funds. And then we also have a receive and file report. This is an update on the 2014 charitable giving campaign that's done by the city. So I encourage members to look at that report and our participation for our chosen charities of choice. And those are the consent items and the receive and file items. All those in favor of that, or if there's any questions, please let me know. Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a couple of clarifying questions, if okay. For item number 3, 3B, it says that we're considering the following candidates for 2 city council appoints, and is that the same as we're confirming these 2 candidates? I'm not quite sure what the considering piece means.
But as I understand, the MTN board is Mr. Fallon here to speak to that by chance? No. It's a separate board. But the city of Minneapolis does the collection. Mr. Harrison, do you want to talk to that briefly? If you could clarify that for him. Councilmember Yang.
John Harrison, Communications Department. What was your question again?
So I'm reading item number 3, and the first item says, or item A says, confirming mayoral appointments, but then the second item says, considering the following candidates for city council appoints. And I'm wondering, what does that mean, like the considering part? I mean, are we confirming just as much, or what are we doing?
You would confirm we received 4 applicants, so you would confirm the remaining 2 applicants if you felt, unless you wanted to seek other applicants in the time being.
Okay, so this is asking for confirmation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Just MTN board.
Yes. Okay. And then my second question is you're free on this one. My second question is with regards to item number 12. I mean, is this standard practice to enter into a confidentiality agreement with vendors? Or do we have precedent for this?
I'm confident that we would. I don't know, Mr. Carpenter, is this something that you might be able to address, or is this Mr. Ginder? This is item 12 on the agenda, outsourced IT service confidentiality agreements. Looking for Mr. Ginder, sorry.
Mr. Chair, I'm not familiar with the particular agreement, but it would not be uncommon for us to enter into, when they say a confidentiality agreement, normally what I understand that is to be an agreement to keep trade secrets confidential, which are protected under the Data Practices Act. So without having seen the item, my assumption is that is what they're talking about. To the extent that they've provided us trade secret data, we will agree to keep that confidential.
Any further? Good, thank you. Any further comments, questions? Not seeing any. All those in favor of those items, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Those items carry. Thank you very much. Which gets us to our exciting part. It's rather unusual that we would be taking up something from the Transportation and Public Works Committee, but given the significant size of the contract, I thought it deserved some attention. So who would be making this presentation? If you could join us and introduce yourselves to the committee.
Mr. Chair, committee members, my name is Glenn Garretts, and I am the Director of the Water Treatment and Distribution Services Division. This will be a short presentation, I stress short, regarding the upgrade to the city's Fridley filtration plant. Fridley filter plant was built in the 1920s and is truly the workhorse in our drinking water treatment scheme, capable of treating and filtering 140 million gallons of drinking water per day. It is time to rehab this water treatment facility to minimize risks associated with providing high quality drinking water to those we serve. This rehabilitation also offers us the opportunity to enhance the treatment scheme by adding a more robust treatment technology in the form of granular activated carbon to specifically address taste and odor issues. Dale Follen is the city's internal project manager on this project, and he will walk you through the process we are using to ensure the best long-term upgrade to this critical piece of water treatment infrastructure. Dale?
Good afternoon. I'm Dale Follen, a senior professional engineer at the Water Group. As Glenn mentioned, our treatment plant called the Fridley Filtration Plant is a one piece in the segment of our process, and it was built in the 1920s. I need to give you a reference on how large this plant is. The length of the filter building from one end to the other is 440 feet. If you're familiar with a short block in Minneapolis, it's only 330 feet. So this building itself is longer than a short city block. It has 20 filters, and each one of those has an arrangement of piping underneath it to make the water flow in, to do the filtration, take the filtered water out, and then do cleaning of that filter. So The project at a glance, we're going to reconstruct those filters. We're going to add the granular activated carbon to deal with taste and odor issues. We will be removing a lot of the pipes that you saw in that previous picture and replacing them. We're adding a backwash supply system to improve what's there in the current situation. And then also, when we do a water backwash of the filters, we don't want to just get rid of that water. We've already taken it from the river. We've already softened it. We want to recover that water and recycle it through our system. So that's the project at a glance. The reason for the very high amendment is, I'm going to get to that as we go through, but it is a little bit unique in how we've done this project, and I'll explain why. First, we did a qualifications-based selection of the engineer. Rather than just a low bid, we wanted somebody who's done this. It's a very complex project, and we hired a consultant that has done multiple rehabilitations of several large water treatment filtration facilities around the country. The actual total engineering fee is within the expected range. And the reason, and here's why it's a little bit different that you're seeing it as an amendment. Part one was our preliminary design and initial investigations. That was intentionally the smaller part. It got us to about 30%. Part two is what we're coming to now with this final design. And the quick reason is that when we finished the study phase, we ended up with several good alternatives to do the project. One example is the backwash supply system. It could either be done with a water tower or done with a pump station. Well, the engineering effort to design a water tower compared to a pump station is radically different. So we wanted to work through the preliminary design, work through these initial investigations. And now we've established what's involved in the project more precisely, and then we've asked the engineer to estimate what it would cost to have, once we've defined the project more clearly. And that's where we're at today. So the initial investigations, I'm not expecting you to even understand this table, but just so you know, over the last year since we came to the Transportation Public Works Committee last year, these are the 15 initial investigations that we went through. Each one of them worked through the top one or two or maybe more alternatives to find the most efficient way to do the project, both considering capital cost and long-term operation costs. So we're looking at the life cycle. So the overall estimated construction cost, we're looking at about just $44.5 million. The preliminary investigations, what was approved last year at about this time, was $965,000. The final design and bid phase is $1.6 million. And overall, that's about 5.9% of the construction cost, which is pretty efficient engineering. And then the construction phase itself, it's a very large project with a really confined working space, so that kind of extends that out. So that's a high number, but it's based on real estimates of the time that we really believe it will take to work out the construction. And with that, I would open it for questions.
Are there any questions or comments? Not seeing any. I do want to thank you very much for this comprehensive view. I just wanted to highlight this is an important project and something we're very supportive of. It's been years in the making, and it has several years outgoing work planned. I'd just like to compliment, of course, Mr. Kotke and the staff, Mr. Follins and Mr. Gerards, for all the work that they've done on this and bringing in outstanding solutions for something that's nothing more important in the city than our water supply. And so thank you for your work with that. And any other questions or comments? Happy to do that. Happy to take this action and move this item forward for your approval. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And that item carries. And thank you again for that illuminating and picture history lesson. It's a terrific project.
Beautiful pictures.
Yeah, they are great pictures.
These are better than the ones I took at that.
Yeah, yeah. I try to get out there every year, but so that actually concludes our business for the day. But before I stand adjourned, I would like to compliment, of course, our finance staff and all of the departments that come forward every cycle for this Ways and Means Committee. And with a special shout out to, of course, our clerk coordinator and for my council member colleagues for your terrific work and engagement and participation in running this city. So thank you very much for your work this year. All those in favor, I guess I don't have to call for a vote on that. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Have a great holiday.